A caryatid is a sculpted female figure serving as an architectural support, taking the place of a column or a pillar, supporting an entablature on her head. Each caryatid is an individual, but all share certain elements: strength, endurance, and fortitude. War, plunder, and now climate change pose dire threats to our architectural heritage. The World Monuments Fund was founded in 1965 by individuals concerned about the accelerating destruction of important artistic treasures throughout the world. Bonnie Burnham joined the organization in 1985, and under her guidance, WMF has contributed more than $250 million to heritage conservation and leveraged an equal amount in matching funds and contributions from others. A crowning achievement of her 30-year tenure is the creation of the World Monuments Watch, the World Monuments Fund's flagship advocacy program. It was launched in 1996 with support from founding sponsor American Express. Since the first list was compiled, the watch has drawn international attention to cultural heritage sites around the world threatened by neglect, vandalism, armed conflict, commercial development, natural disasters, and climate change. Through the watch, WMF fosters community support for the protection of endangered places and attracts technical and financial support for the sites, including a number in New York State. Prior to WMF, Bonnie served as Executive Director of the International Foundation for Art Research. She holds degrees in the history of art from the University of Florida and the Université de Paris-Sorbonne. Miss Burnham has been honored as a Chevalier of the French Order of Arts and Letters and is the first recipient of the Beinecke-Reeves Distinguished Achievement Award in Historic Preservation. She received the Founders Award for Civic Leadership from Partners for Livable Communities in 2013. Bonnie Burnham's scholarship has demonstrated that cultural heritage is the DNA of civilization. It is the bridge of traditions, objects, and structures that links us to our history. Her leadership has solidified WMF's reputation as a global organization. Her legacy inspires others to care about culture and heritage and encourages them to become champions for the places that give meaning to our lives. Perhaps the most significant outcome of the 1893 Columbian World Exposition in Chicago can be found nearly 5,000 miles from the shores of Lake Michigan. While planning the expo, a group of American architects, painters, and sculptors led by Charles Follen McKim discussed creating a school in Rome where American artists could learn about classicism and advance their skills. Thus, the American Academy in Rome, now our oldest American overseas center for independent study and advanced research in the arts and humanities, was founded in 1894. Each year, the Academy awards the Rome Prize to a select group of scholars and artists who spend a year on the Academy's 11-acre center on the highest hill within the walls of the ancient city. Adele Chatfield-Taylor was appointed President and CEO of the American Academy in 1988. Previously, she was a Rome Prize Fellow in Design, conducting a comparative analysis of American and Italian historic preservation practices and legislation. This experience and her lifelong work in preservation enabled her to lead the institution through a total restoration and renovation, bringing all buildings and grounds back from a state of disrepair. As they marked the centennial of their McKim, Mead, and White building, the 25-year effort was completed, all facilities having been examined, restored, improved, and brought up to code. To sustain the new status quo, they then established a depreciation fund to ensure proper maintenance for generations to come. Miss Chatfield-Taylor also oversaw the balancing of the budget and the endowment of the fellowships, and a tenfold increase of the endowment fund to $106 million. In recognition, she was decorated with the Order of Merit of the Italian Republic. Prior to the American Academy in Rome, Adele was director of the Design Arts program for the National Endowment for the Arts, where she helped establish the Mayor's Institute on City Design. She was a fellow of the New York Institute for the Humanities, a member of the U.S. Commission of Fine Arts, a fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, a trustee of the National Trust, and the 12th recipient of the Vincent Scully Prize from the National Building Museum. Dorothy Parker said, "As only New Yorkers know, if you can get through the twilight, you'll live through the night." When Susan Henshaw Jones became director of the Museum of the City of New York in 2003, the institution was in dire straits. The museum celebrates and interprets the city, educating the public about its distinctive character, especially its heritage of diversity, opportunity, and perpetual transformation. Founded in 1923, after 80 years, the museum required a transformation of its own. Jones is credited with bringing the museum to financial stability by greatly increasing and balancing the budget, thoroughly renovating and modernizing the building, stabilizing and conserving collections, organizing both temporary exhibitions, and launching a permanent exhibition on 400 years of New York City's history, opening in November 2016, and by increasing public engagement and attendance. Prior to her tenure at the Museum of the City of New York, Susan was president and director of the National Building Museum in Washington, D.C. from 1994 to 2002. According to Robert A.M. Stern, dean of the Yale School of Architecture, she built the fledgling National Building Museum into the major institution it has become today. Her career, however, began in New York City, where she was the president of the New York Landmarks Conservancy from 1988 to 1994 and executive director from 1975 to 1980. She left the Conservancy to attend business school and to help run her family's manufacturing company. Miss Jones also worked in New York City Mayor John V. Lindsay's administration and was one of 3 founders of Creative Time, a nonprofit devoted to art in the public realm. As Susan Henshaw Jones wrote in the foreword to a book commemorating the 50th anniversary of the New York City Landmarks Law, the story of preservation is one that influences New Yorkers every day, one that is often, but should never be, taken for granted.
Tonight's honorees have made immeasurable contributions to local, national, and international preservation. Their collective history aligns perfectly with the League's 25-year tradition of honoring individuals who have taken extraordinary action to protect, preserve, and promote New York's and the world's artistic and architectural heritage. These 3 women have faced unique challenges at numerous organizations, but the characteristics they share, strength, endurance, and fortitude, have allowed them to prevail. Their efforts have truly raised the standard for stewardship and preservation, and their leadership will help to protect our irreplaceable historic resources for generations to come. Their legacies will continue to inspire all of us as they are truly pillars of New York.